Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Pinball Arcade. Last time we spent 2 hours playing Safecracker and other tables. Today we're playing Scared Stiff. Now if I recall correctly, this is the second Elvira table with her likeness in it. And if I think we'll find out is that this table is actually made by a different company than this table. And I think the third Elvira table, which would have come out after the point where they were licensing tables, um, then was made by Stern, but is Stern of a different generation. So I think it kind of goes Stern and then a different company and then Stern again, unless I'm mistaken. And actually, there was another company. See, this is Bailey, 1996. And this is Bailey, 1989. So I must be wrong. It must have been Bailey, then a third Elvira table that came out after that point. Monster Bash feels like the third Elvira game, but it actually isn't. It's the Universal Monsters.
I don't want to know what's in there.
You can even hear from that call out that there's a noticeable increase in the audio quality. Also, a decade later, Elvira, she still probably looks fairly pretty if she's still alive even in 2021, but I imagine her voice may have changed a little bit and she would have aged a little bit. There is definitely a problem with a lot of the roles of actresses wearing tons of makeup and the makeup just being detrimental to the actual the actual face of actresses and prematurely aging their faces. There's a lot of garbage in makeup just to make people feel a little bit better about their appearance or make other people feel better about other people's appearances. Um, but I won't get into a big rant about that. There is a much worse case scenario of that in which the sci-fi show Farscape had a actress playing a blue alien and they were painting her body blue for like every single episode, and eventually they found out that the material in the blue body paint makeup was cancerous, and it I think did give her cancer to the point where I don't think that they could even really have her on the show because she'd just have these violent reactions and outbreaks of um, on her skin. Anyways, yeah, what does that have to do with pinball? Um, so yeah, I doubt we'll see a fourth Elvira themed table. It's more likely we would see the end of pinball completely as people just age out of being of remembering what it is. Before we would see Elvira make a resurgence, it would be very hard to have a new Elvira popularity wave because you either recast Elvira and then everybody's upset because you recasted her, or you have what could be a 70-year-old plus woman dressing up as a vampire queen. Um, and that probably isn't going to work either. You could try to do like a cartoon around Elvira, but cartoons don't particularly exist at all in 2021. So I don't see a reason why you would do that because you already have the Hotel Transylvania vampire girl as a character, and you could easily just create your own character. Um, so yeah, that pretty much is done. I suppose if the actress who played Elvira passed away and then say a respectable decade or so has passed, you might at that point bring back Elvira with a new actress. But I don't think her just being a host of bad sci-fi movies really accomplishes anything, because you've got the likes of Red Letter Media and any other countless number of YouTubers who also talk about terrible movies, and they don't play characters or anything like that. Anyways, let's get into the game. 5 minutes in. Scared Stiff 1996 is another amazing game featuring Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. It was designed by Mark Wayna. I don't think I've heard that name before. And Dennis Nordman, who also designed Elvira and the Party Monsters. So this is his second bite at the apple. Um, This game features clearly defined goals as players are challenged to completing the 6 Tales of Terror in order to activate the Stiffometer. The ultimate goal is to rise to the level of Scared Stiff. A unique feature on this table is the industry's first interactive 3D backglass, allowing players to choose rewards by stopping a spinning spider on the backglass. 4,024 units of this table were produced. I did find out what the table was that had the holographic Pepper's Ghost magic trick at the back glass. So basically there was a 45-degree angle glass here from the top of the top glass angled downward to right about this point. If you look at the bottom of the screen, if I could move in a level way, about that point is just a mirror, and there's a projector at the back that projects video on that mirror. And so whenever you shot a shot up past that point, it would end up in a sinkhole or a target or a loop, but you just didn't know what was actually going on, and it was just the graphics that told you what to shoot for. Apparently, that is Attack from Mars 3D, the spiritual successor or the actual direct sequel to Attack on Mars, which apparently people are a lot more popular, a lot more happy with than I was. So I suppose the thing to say there is that it's kind of sucks that they didn't have Attack on Mars 3D for Pinball Arcade, because that would be the next logical step. So we have a spinner with a spider that spins around. I don't think the spider does anything else. And it is sunken, and then there's a glass in front of us. Yeah, there is Vampirella as a comic book character also, if you are going to have a femme fatale vampire lady. So, and it's kind of surprising with the whole Twilight fad when that happened, in the Harry Potter fad to a lesser extent. It's a little surprising that they didn't try to bring Vampirella or Blade to the movies. And so, yeah, she's got this big old hair piece. Seems like it's 3 layers of standouts. Lots of cleavage. Definitely this is animated more than even traced from a real photo. A dagger, a bottle of something, popcorn in a skull. Here we have Corn Man from Mars, Black Thursday, and Curse of the Zombie Cows. I don't know if those are real bad movies or not. Showing a lot of legs. Now, there is a dangerous allegory here, having a pussycat in front of her legs that I will skip over. Little Luna green cheese. I wonder if that's a reference to a movie, too. There's batteries on the bed next to a flashlight. Again, reference there I will not make. There's definitely some dirty jokes visually happening here. What's interesting here is Pinball Arcade's depiction of this is totally wrong. See, that image there should be on the back part of the glass. So when I zoom in down this way, I should not be seeing anything. The hat should cut it off. And yet, it's the exact opposite, because they've set it as a top layer in the programming. It cuts off that. And sure, when you're actually playing, you'll never see that, but That definitely highlights where there can be some bad programming. It almost feels like there's cuts out in the fog glass to make those lights brighter, which maybe there are. But I don't think so. Alright, let's look at the actual table now. I was thinking there might be a stiffometer on the backboard, but apparently not. So you have a remote control shoot again, 2 flippers. It feels like these slingshots are fairly small and far away from the flippers. Maybe they did that so you could get more angled shots. There's 3 standing targets. We haven't seen a kickback in a table in a very long time, so it'd be kind of nice to see one. Some out lanes. Some standing targets on the far right. You have Elvira being depicted here, and then Elvira being depicted there. So this is all about Elvira and the monsters, which frankly in the Elvira theme table kind of has to all be about Elvira, because it's not like there were any other recurring human characters. Unless you were going to do a half Elvira, half Crypt Keeper table, which might be interesting. There's a scoop, and then there's a horseshoe loop that sends the ball this way, which hits this crate, which I guess at some point that crate opens. Otherwise, you have a top lane that seems to just drain out into a scoop that's sideways. Interesting. A loop there, a ramp up there that takes it to the top lane, and then a ramp over here that takes it to the top lane, so maybe it loops around, and then you have this one big skeleton snake-like serpent thing, which is a little bit off art model, because every other monster is kind of cutesy. To then have this big spooky skeleton thing seems a little weird. Elvira is kind of cutesy too, particularly if you're young and you just don't see the whole sexual aspect to it. Here you have the little plastic monsters from the previous table, and then these little frogs here. And it'll be interesting to see if the frogs actually jump up when they get hit, or if the plastic monsters even jump up when they get hit. There is a coffin here, which might be a ball ejector, so maybe a ball comes out of that. And then you shoot up here, and it goes all the way around into the top lane before the switch, the end lane before the switch. It doesn't feel like there's a ton of stuff here. And it does kind of feel like there's a bit of a confusion as to where the balls come from. Like, this lane here just seems to kind of stop and then start here and then go this way. So how does the ball get up there? Or does the ball get up there? Or is it just that there's a lane here that literally doesn't do anything, and it's just a broken lane, and the only time a ball comes into it is from here? Or does the ball magically come out the mouth of the snake and there's a lane on top of a lane? That might be it. Yeah, it might be that there are literally two lanes on top of each other, and that's why it's hard to see. Seems like there are 6 different modes, and then there's your stiffometer going up all the way to 10, with a lot of artwork taking up that table that way. And it seems like a decent amount of center lane shots are going to be desired. And so we'll want to see if this box bounces back with a fury down the center lane, or if it does something else. Let's see the flyer. So here you have Elvira sitting on a pinball table, which oddly, that table does seem like it. The way it's artistically designed, and it has that black element at the top makes it seem like the table is slanted at a higher pitch than normal. I don't know if that's exactly true. It may just be the art way. And this is more than likely a touched up photo of a real photo of Elvira. And she's wearing pantyhose this time instead of bare legs on the table. And then they show off the table a little bit in the flyer. And that again looks like a real photo that then was redrawn and kind of traced. Let me double check that. Was she wearing pantyhose on the back glass? I guess you could assume as much, yeah. Yeah, I thought bare legs. I think at this point it looks like she's not wearing pantyhose. But also I could be wrong there. Our main goals, and what does it really matter? The whole idea of pantyhose is kind of stupid, and in general, complete a skill shot, activate the hold bonus, save a ball with the spell. That should be in quotation marks, I think. Earn a telepathic power reward and earn an extra ball. Well, let's hop into a game. I think that'll be somewhat fairly easy to do. I've accidentally set the ball to one of those hideous skins.
I don't want to know what's in there.
There is definitely a case that, as far as I know, no pinball table ever came with any custom balls. Those would have been aftermarket prop things. Things that I also don't feel like people really would have bought. I'd be much more interested in having an aftermarket topper or an aftermarket colored dot matrix display over.
My favorite.
So there's sinkholes behind that crate. And the frog, I think, did jump when I hit it. Which, having that extra bit of mechanical is a nice feature, but it probably doesn't really do anything.
I'm warning you.
There's a sink in the hole.
Stop the spider!
Beast, hurry up. Is that a good reward or
Now
not?
look what you've done. Mosquitoes? Leeches? Vampires? Liars!
From the crate!
So it was lawyers. So the crate is a usually blocked off.
Get it in there!
It also feels like you can sneak in the backside of the crate, but no, it's a locked off flipper. So it does seem like it works fairly nicely. It doesn't seem to bounce the ball downward. And when you hit it and it's unlocked, it leads to just a sinkhole. In a lot of ways, it is
I knew you'd come back.
probably very similar to the idea in that we're done.
Man, I hate
That's a skill
commercials.
shot, I think. To the idea that Phantom of the Opera had, where you were supposed to hit the chandelier over and over again,
Whatever.
and then raise the chandelier and then sink a ball in the hole of the chandelier under it.
Oh, the Deadhead Family Album.
Good head!
My favorite. Get to the laboratory!
It feels like there might be a reward for getting several of the frogs to scream at the same time.
Captured. I don't want to know what's in there.
I am the leaper.
I think there's a movie called Night of the Leapers, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is no movie called Night of the Leaper.
Get to the laboratory.
On a certain level,
Leave it alone.
Elvira got out Elvira'd with Mystery Science Theater 3000, as far as they expanded it to all bad movies instead of just bad horror movies.
All two captured.
But I would say that there's probably enough
You've been glad to see.
enough bad movies out there for 2 or 3 series around the idea of playing host to terrible movies.
Come. Stop the spider. Get to the crate.
No. I hate frogs.
So it wants me to hit the crate.
Good shot.
Monsters? Demons? Zombies? Taxi drivers?
Error from the crate.
So this time it's taxi drivers. So it's gonna be a joke each time.
Get to the crate.
Hurry!
Eyes of the holy beast.
Get it in there! What the?
And her screaming, "Get it in there!" again could be a dirty joke.
Jackpot!
So hitting the frogs does apparently start a Leaper Mania mode if you hit it enough.
I don't want to know what's in there.
At a certain level, by 2021 standards, it would make more sense for Elvira to host like costume play porn videos, dressing up as different monsters and doing a weird gimmick or weird fetish that way, because the idea of subtle dirty jokes just don't really play anymore. Like, kids are too smart to arguably make the argument that they don't know what you're saying, and there's just too much porn in general that exists to need to play coy. There's no censorship really in most fields and genres.
Great shot!
I feel like you could probably have a fully adult themed table if you wanted, because you'd be just hitting the individual home buyer market anyways, and it's not like you have to sell it to a lot of people. You're selling it to a few thousand very rich people. Like, you could, before he died, you probably could have made a table specifically just for Hugh Hefner, and he would have bought it, and you could have charged him the full development cost of the table to have only one. They are talking a lot about a new concept of non-fungible tokens right now, and theoretically you could make a table that was very similar to that, where it was a limited one-of-a-kind product.
You're one of my favorites.
And a lot of the sci-fi stuff have all ended up It knows there that it put a random title into the name instead of just all spaces.
Tell me more.
Like a lot of the bad sci-fi and horror movies have all moved to its own exclusive streaming service called Chiller, so I imagine Chiller allows for whatever it wants to allow. Let's figure out what the spell is. The spell is an important feature in this table. When it's lit, it will relaunch the ball if it trains down the left out lane. To light the spell, complete the 3 spot targets here 2 times. Once the spell is lit in the left aim lane, complete the bank of spot targets to score a spell bonus worth 100,000. Okay. Telepathic power. Okay. We already got the telepathic power thing, so we don't have to worry about that. Can be lit at the center lane by increasing the end of ball bonus to 8, by completing the Leapermania mode, by earning 3 eyeball awards from the Spin the Spider, by completing 8 and 30 web loops on the right. 8 and 30 web loops by activating the Spider-Mania mode, or as a random reward from the Telepathic Power feature. Okay, well, at least we know what it is to accomplish that. Alright.
Are you ready to play?
So I don't fully understand what I'm supposed to be doing, but I think I understand enough of it.
Big head.
Oh, nice manners.
I feel like there are some elements on this table, particularly the deadhead element, that doesn't really work.
Double trouble.
I assume with a name like Double Trouble that there would be 2 balls on the table, but apparently not. You do have that danger, certainly, with any table when you lock a ball to show a visual element.
Stop the spider.
Interesting.
Lock the ball.
That gave me several hits on the laboratory.
The spider hole is lit.
It shows you the eye, so you want to hit the eye, but it does seem to me like
Those leapers.
there's
I
work
don't want to
here.
know what's in there. Better be careful.
How many do I have to hit?
Leave it alone.
Do I need to hit 3 more? Or... yeah, I think this is just going to boil down to getting fairly good.
Lock is lit.
It is kind of nice that you can potentially
Just don't listen, do you?
potentially hit the crate when the ball is ejected.
Anaconda? Fail,
Arrow from the crate.
quick! Hit the crate!
Hurry. Jackpot.
Keep all body parts inside the crate.
Eye of the leaper.
Hurry!
The monster lab.
see. Doesn't seem like there's a super jackpot here.
Jackpot!
Great shot.
And it seems like you're just gonna be capable of scoring as many jackpots as you want. As long as you're decent at shooting the jackpots.
Wake me up when you're done.
Return of the Deadhead!
I hate frogs. Let's go.
Yeah, apparently I'm supposed to hit 5 frogs.
Frogs everywhere.
The ball got stuck.
Up!
Legitimately got stuck.
Ah, the Deadhead family album.
Fish head!
Better practice your scale.
I have to kind of wonder how many different head puns can you make.
The spider hole is lit.
Look up!
I don't feel like this as a concept works, really. I think that looking up a bunch of times
Captured.
to see the spinner is something that you would want to see replaced with a digital equivalent, or the spinner should be under the table, really. Which we haven't seen that under the table gimmick done in quite a while. And it's not like
I don't want to know what
more modern tables had more stuff going on. Although arguably if you were to
all two captured.
design a table with a lot of gimmicks and stuff, you may have a hard time squeezing an under the table feature with just all the wiring and circuit boards, and particularly if you have like LEDs on giant circuit boards, surface mounted. I think that there's probably a large fear amongst pinball owners as far as surface mounted LEDs and circuit boards, because they just have never soldered a surface mount thing,
How about another ball?
and you need like flux, you need a hot air gun, you need great eyesight and magnifiers and a steady hand, and whereas in the past a lot of people were doing it without having to solder it because they were just changing bulbs and sockets.
Man, I hate commercials.
But the more connectors, the higher chances of things breaking off. So there just kind of has to be a new generation of people who maintain pinballs for modern days compared to the old technology.
Practicing!
Hey, get up! What are you, dead or something? Watch this.
But I bet there's also a lot of examples of old pinball assemblers, people building the tables, that are used to hand soldering things at most, and using a like surface mount air gun to assemble or fix something may feel very awkward and different. And I get that. Like, I have never surface mounted anything myself, and I've hand soldered things, but surface mount is the future. It's all the components are just getting so small, it doesn't make any sense to even make the old size stuff.
This is my favorite part of the movie.
I feel like I am in
Great!
the scared stiff mode,
Amazing!
and
Quick!
I feel like that just happened. Either that or it's just lighting up the scared stiff mode to say hit the crate.
You're one of my favorites.
And that once again spells MAB, So I don't know if Mab is short for something, maybe the initials of the actress of Elvira.
Tell me more.
Oh, pooh. Thanks for killing some time with me.
But yeah. So what standard goal do we still have to do? Save the ball with the spell.
I knew
Display.
you'd come back.
Not hating this table, but it doesn't feel like it really has enough of a gimmick that I do like. I kind of don't like the Deadhead collection because it's too slow, and they don't really need to hold the ball during that point. They could have just
Be careful.
cut that animation in half. So you could change that with programming, just a quick mod to speed it up. But I don't like looking up to the spinning either, so I feel like that too should be rethought so that you don't have to actually look up and control the spinning, and instead it is just a random spinner, which I'm happy with letting the game cheat for me in my favor so that I actually do sometimes get more of a rewarding outcome. Right. I don't think the spell.
Stop the spider!
Best case scenario, you do this, and then it spins a little bit. And I suppose we will have to talk about the level of technology that would have existed in 1996 and look at that spinner and try and figure out how that really would have been designed and working in 1996. It's probably a very simplistic solution to it compared to a more complicated solution that would be used these days. I heard someone talking about a table that had a shot where you basically had to just take this one shot out of the ball or the ball would drain out. And when you made the shot, it looped around back to that same shot. So it just locked you into doing the same thing over and over again. We haven't seen any tables really like that in this curation of tables, because that would stink pretty bad, but I could see it certainly happening. There's a difference between having the option to make a shot over and over again, like this table has, and then being forced into it because it's literally the only shot you can take. So this spins around and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 locations, 15 steps. So more than likely this in modern days would be a 16 step or 15 step, if they make such a thing, motor with a 15 step rotary encoder so you know where it lands. More than likely you would have, when this came out, a generic rotary encoder or predecessor to a rotary encoder, in the sense that there more than likely is a piece of metal hidden behind the spider that touches a piece of metal when it is pointing a specific direction, and all it does is just spin a motor in general, and when you choose to stop it, it stops, and it is probably spinning the motor around some gears to make sure it stops at a specific point, so it's not halfway between two things, and whatever it lands on, it just lands on. Arguably, you don't need the spider at all, since you have LEDs behind it. You could have just had the LED spinning. You could have easily had this on the table in general. Alright.
Are you ready to play? Man, I hate commercials.
It is really just the same problem as Safecracker, though. Not as bad as Safecracker. Safecracker makes you stop the entire game to play a board game on the backboard.
Whatever.
But you can also see that the dot matrix display on this table is fairly small, even smaller than a normal dot matrix display. And I kind of didn't even see that there were pop-up bumpers in that laboratory area. I didn't even see the laboratory area at all. It's just dark blue where the rest of the table is red. This might be a scenario where to get to the standard goal, you might just be better off
I don't want to know
to
what's in there.
just play the game and wait for a good game to start Multiball or something, and then use that. Or wait till you get a reward. Alright, the spell is lit. No, the spell is not lit. I have to hit it 2 more times before the spell is lit.
Here's a bunch of scary stiffs.
And the dead heads being collected in the center shot and then being lit in the far right backboard of the table doesn't really make a lot of sense.
What the spell is cast.
Alright, now save a ball with the spell. So how do I get the ball to go out the left out lane? That's not a question we normally ask on a pinball table. If anything, it's the last thing you'd ever want to see happen.
Here's a bunch of scary stiffs. My favorite.
So I think what I need to do is potentially get the ball to almost drain out and nudge it. And this is my last ball to pull this off.
Commercial.
It's fairly ridiculous to create a table that has a decent left out lane.
Easy, Tiger.
That's as much as I can nudge. To have a nice left out lane that where you can't really accomplish, you can't really drain out of the left out lane, and then have a goal to try and get it to go out the left out lane.
Hurry! The spider hole is lit. All one action.
Suppose if I can get a multi-ball, then there's a decent chance that the ball will go out the left out lane. We'll just try and keep the ball in play. The crate is just a 2-ball multi-ball. 2. The spell stopped working. 2. And once again, we have a table where you're getting some oohing and awing. There is undeniably a connection to sexuality in playing pinball because you're just bumping with your hips tables.
Wake me up when you're done.
And that's something that creators either subconsciously or consciously know and are aware of. Now getting extra ball, not a bad idea. I just got the bonus multiplier up by 2. I'm not sure what caused that though. Not a particularly high scoring table,
How about another ball?
which I don't hate that as an idea. I don't think an instant pull is ever gonna get you where you want to be. I'm gonna get it to drain out the other side on accident if I'm not careful. I'm trying to get the ball.
Ball 2 captured. One more for Multiball. Stop them! What the?
It gives more personality to Elvira to have her afraid of
Where's the cheese?
Frogs.
Hop to it.
And these tables, I think,
There's a bunch of scary
particularly in 2021, do have to give a personality to Elvira. Because really, she is just a cardboard cutout of a character in my mind. She, like, I don't know anything about her. I didn't watch any of her presentations.
Now!
Well, I tried. One Mississippi.
Put on your big shoes and dance with me.
Boogeyman Boogie. Yeah, I don't know if the boogeymen on the slingshots actually pop up or not. But we know the frogs do, so that's enough for me, really. Like, the slingshots don't flip the ball in that direction towards the left out lane. Finally, save the ball with the spell. Which at this point, there's kind of no point in doing anything and I should just let the ball drain, but we'll just play for a good score. No.
Chimpanzees? Gorillas? Mechanics! Get it in there!
One thing I will say about the Hotel Transylvania Mavis character is, they set her as like being, in the first movie, several thousand years old, but she's like 18,000 years old, but that equates as a vampire to being 18 years old, but then she's dating like a 22-year-old human, or slash maybe she even marries him in a later movie. So there's some weirdness there. But the first movie pretty much revolves around this romance where it feels like it would be wise to make a prequel TV series or something where she's going to like a high school and you're just establishing her as a character. And the Hotel Transylvania movie focused heavily on Mavis, but she's not the only character in the table. We got an extra ball. That's a interesting eyeball animation that I assume the implication there is she just pulled an extra ball out of her cleavage, but the camera didn't show that, so not 100% certain where that ball came from. And that's true for a lot of pinball tables. If you look at the animation, it doesn't really connect to a lot of things. It doesn't make that much sense.
Better practice your scale.
I feel like the frame rate on dot matrix displays might have been a little bit better than an LCD display around the same time. If you had the option of one or the other, you might want to go with smoother frame rates. Which that is something that you would have to address in any kind of computer system running a pinball table, is you've got to have a decent processor to run all the tests and run all the code. Not anything insane like a 4 gigahertz 64 core computer or anything, but I imagine if you're going less than 2 gigahertz on your computer, you're going to find you are running into some trouble, depending how much custom code really is being executed on other hardware. Like if you have a industry system on a chip equivalent to a good graphics card that handles all the videos and all the audio separately, you might not need but maybe a 1200 megahertz processor to actually run the game code. But the last thing you would want to have happen is for you to push a flipper and it not actually activate a flipper until half a second later, to the point where players can actually notice that. If you can keep everything below 100 milliseconds, you're probably fine, but you've got to take a lot of input and outputs there as far as just reading every switch and having audio decide whether it wants to play. And deciding, frankly, whether you want to play audio on top of audio, because that's not super easy to do. There's, at a certain level, there's only so many tracks that you can play on top of each other. So you would want like a background music track, but sometimes you might want to have the background music track fade down, so that's extra coding. Okay. So, score a 250k beat the crate shot. I don't know if you can do that. Land in the secret passage. Complete Leaper Mania, which we haven't done. Activate Monster Multiball. And activate Spider Mania, which we will have to think about if we can actually accomplish all of that.
Stop the spider!
So what do you do to get Spider Mania on the spider? Or do you do anything? I think the frog mode kind of sucks in that you're hitting the frog targets to start the mode, and then you're hitting the frogs to end the mode. Which, yeah, that seems redundant. And there's one specific frog shot that I don't think I can hit.
Stop the spider!
And this is called the Beast Hurry Up.
Night of the Leaper!
Here's a bunch of scary stuff.
Cheesehead!
We're the cheese.
And it seems like every head you collect is of the same value. You really have to power that left lane to get into the laboratory.
Shoot the left ramp. What the? Leave it alone.
The angles on those frogs must be just really well designed. That you can hit two in a row. But it also might be a case that you could have done that with a lot of other shots too, and that is just something that isn't as obvious because you don't get a screaming jumping frog. Fathead is worth 50,000 where the others were worth 20,000. So the only thing I can think is that you're supposed to hit the crate with the skill shot. Because that's about the only thing I haven't hit.
Spiders? Roaches?
Compared to Whodunit though, this crate is a much better implementation of a center lane shot. Just not that stops the ball from going in the wrong place, and it doesn't have the overly complicated concept of going up the top lanes and controlling an elevator.
Hey, get up! What are you, dead or something? Watch this.
The way the coffin ejects the ball is nicely designed. I could have thought that it would have just been an ejector or nothing of real interest.
You've been practicing.
This seems to be a left ramp, right ramp combination shot for jackpots.
Do it again. Get the extra ball.
Jackpot! Jackpot! Very nice! Jackpot!
This is my favorite part of the movie. Have a free game. Hit the crate.
That gave me an extra ball, but it said free game, which that would be replay.
Hit the crate.
Turn out the lights! It's time to get scared stiff!
Let's see how scared stiff you can get.
So we haven't.
Stiff-o-meter!
This'll scare the pants off you. I hope.
So we don't hit the. You don't even get to scared stiff mode until you unlock a mode. Interesting. I mean, that's pretty demanding. I like how that shot ejects the ball upward, and thus you have this kind of safe drain into the right in lane instead of it shooting it downwards to the left flip to the right flipper, which could have been a lot worse. I don't think we're in the scared stiff mode anymore though.
I don't want to know what's in there.
3 more leaps for Leaper Madness.
You come! Stop!
Get to the laboratory.
That went badly. did raise the scared stiffometer, which is an end of ball multiplier, so this could be an incredibly high scoring table from the looks of it.
Man, I hate commercials.
Yeah. So I'm not expecting any greatness as far as the overall leaderboards. I imagine there's some very legitimate scores into the billions for a table like this. Plus the theme is going to have that extra appeal. So I bet a lot of people play this table too. It doesn't really set you up well to light the spinner web when you don't hit the spinner web. So I kind of would like to see the ball, and I would really just make small adjustment here. I'd like to see the ball when it hits that point be ejected on the left lane instead of being ejected to the right flipper. Yeah. And see, the second I stop hitting lanes and hit the leapers, then I increase the danger of the ball draining out massively.
You're one of my favorites.
It's a great day for race.
I'm kind of other things to say, but I kind of want to play some more too, so I think I'm going to play another game. Like, yeah, the high scores here on its own board is 47. So, let's see. While Beat the Crate is activated, each crate shot scores 25,000 points times the current value of the stiffometer, which means you need this stiffometer at the maximum. Okay. One feature that helps completing tails is the secret passage. Shooting the left shot with a weak shot results in the ball falling down this lane. Award is a secret passage. This automatically completes one of the tails. There's no limit to the number of times the secret passage can be used to complete a tail. One of the tails must be completed before the stiffometer mode can be activated. Is terror from the crate. To complete this tail, hit each of the leaper targets located here, here, here. Yeah, and that's it. There's just 3 of them. There's not a 4th. Which it feels like there should be a 4th. I don't think a table themed around frogs alone, though, would make sense. Monster Multiball. Once all 6 tails of terrors have been completed, shoot the ball into the crate to activate the stiffometer. This mode has 30-second timer, begins with you at level 1. Jackpots are lit at the Bonnie Beast ramp, the crate, and the right ramp. Shooting in these gives you a jackpot, raises the stiffometer by 1, and adds a few seconds to the 30 seconds timer. The goal of the mode is to raise it to 10 by continuing to score jackpots. Once the first jackpot is scored, the jackpot will alternate between being lit at both the Bonnie Beast and the right lamp, or just the crate, which means you're going to have to get really good at 3 different shots on this table. Once it's raised to level 10, it scores 5 million points and activates the Monster Multiball. Monster Multiball is a 4-ball multiball. If you complete the back glass spider web by collecting all the rewards, it activates Spider Mania. This 4-ball multi-ball is awarded by awarding all of the spider awards again and lighting the jackpots. It gives you all the spider awards. That's quite a reward. Alright, so we need to just have some ball control, and I'm not sure if ball control is really going to help me much on this table, but we'll see. Scared Stiff revision 1.5, sound revision 1.0. I imagine feature adjustments not super different. Apparently you can have an attract spider spin around for 5 minutes. They don't want to burn out the motor, I'm sure. 1 ball save with a ball save time of 4, which is fairly low. Coffin ball save of 6. Crate ball save of 6. Extra ball percentage chance of 20. Ramp extra ball starts at 8. Ramp extra ball 2 is on. Auto fire locks are off. Coffin multi-ball medium. Crate multi-ball medium. Ramp extra ball memory, yes. Spider extra ball memory, yes. Mystery extra ball memory, yes. Leaper extra ball memory, yes. Which means you probably can't get that same extra ball twice. Stiff mode timer is at 30. I'd turn that up. Boogie mode time is at 20. 2x mode time is 20. Leaper mode time is 20. Beat mode timer is 20. Player tournament, yes. Disable coffin, no. I don't know what you would do if the coffin was disabled at that point. You'd probably just have to eject the ball somewhere else. Disable crate, no. Yeah, if the coffin doesn't work or the crate doesn't work on this table, I would not play it. Disable spider, not so much of a deal. I could almost make the argument around disabling the spider just by default. Family mode is off. Boogie dancers can be turned off. So I guess they do pop up. Clear coffin jam is on. So we'll just turn it off since we didn't make any changes.
Are you ready to play?
Alright,
I
so
don't want to know what's in
with
there.
ball control, can we
Oh, the
sneak it
Deadhead
in
Family album.
Badhead!
into that shot to finish tails?
You devil, you.
See, like, first thing we should do is
Look up!
this.
Stop the spider!
Notice that gave me an award that it's not pointing to. So already we've got it glitching. So if I want that to reset, I'd have to go up a ramp. And I don't think
Here's
I
a
can
bunch of scary stuff.
get the ramp
Cheesehead!
with the ball
Where's the
mode.
cheese?
So I think there is a combination of first tier rewards and second tier rewards for the deadheads, and maybe third tier rewards.
Secret passage!
Like, I am just barely pushing forward up that ramp, and it's not getting into that secret passage. Like, I have a hard time imagining pulling that off. Like,
Oh, the Deadhead Family album.
Good head!
you see now,
My favorite.
good head is worth 100,000, so your score has nothing to do with the actual head you collect.
bunch of scary stiffs.
Airhead.
Whatever.
So yeah, it feels like there's maybe 6 or 7 heads that you can collect, and that will finish one tail.
Night of the Leaper.
So Night of the Leaper's tail is complete. And that completed the tail. Didn't start Leaper Mania though. Leaper Mania is just around getting an extra ball lit. Which
Get the extra ball.
extra ball is lit that way.
Extra ball! It's nice that you have this. I made it all the way around. Spider hole.
It's nice that there's a pop-up bumper on the outside of that pop-up bumper area,
Ah, the
because
Dead Egg Family album.
that is something
Better
that
practice your scale.
they could have been blocked off with just a slingshot, and a lost opportunity for scoring.
Look up. Stop the spider.
Lock is lit.
Okay. And see, when you go up that, then it is
Captured.
trapped immediately.
I'm warning you.
So is the sneak in like something that you have to push?
Secret passage.
Yeah, that secret passage is not doable by the looks of it. Like it's blinking there, but then it.
Here's a bunch of scary stiffs.
Fathead.
Oh, nice manner.
Secret passage.
Sometimes if you have enough momentum you can get up that ramp with the ball control. But you'd have to have a particularly long game.
Balls then.
Like to actually collect all these rewards. And you'd have to get particularly good at hitting 2 very specific shots with the left trigger. Oh man, and there's redundancy here too, so the odds actually seem extremely impossibly low that you'd be able to collect all this. Like, I feel like the best case scenario here is that you would, in the real world, just have better control. What tails are still to be lit? There's only one tail left to be done, and I don't even know what it is. I think it's probably the labyrinth tail. The laboratory tail. Yeah. No, the laboratory is lit already. See, that's like a ramp or something. The scoop shoots the ramp. It shoots the ball on some other kind of ramp. I could make an argument here that the table gets a little bit boring when you start to really try and get everything. Like there's really not a lot left to target or hit. And so it might just be easier to go for the crate and start to create multi-ball, and then you have at least the opportunity to knock some balls around. I can cheat the crate jackpot all I want, but in this mode you really can't do anything else, so apparently I have a ball saver going on still. The Eyes of the Beast tail is now complete too. Alright, let's go ahead and get the extra ball. While we're at it. Another extra ball. So you know the game is actually scoring fairly high.
Great shot.
Now at this point, just start the stiffometer,
Turn out the lights.
because we've done all the
It's time to
tails,
get scared.
and we only did that
Let's see
legitimately
how
once.
scared stiff you can get.
Turn on the stiffometer.
This'll scare the pants off you. I hope.
Yeah, everything she says is in double entendre. Right. So the problem here is going to be, you've got to basically get the ball down here to then gain enough momentum to get the ball to come up there,
Excellent shot.
and then it's going to start alternating.
Very nice.
The good news is with this table though, you can actually accomplish half the things with ball control, whereas so many other games you can't even get this far. I don't know if these images that they're showing of differently scared people are references to anything or not. So again, just let it get down and then hope we can get enough momentum. Okay.
Frogs everywhere.
Secret passage.
So the secret passage is what we're looking for here.
Hurry.
Secret passage.
You see, I'm just gonna try and hit the secret passage. Although, the other thing
Night of the Leaper!
we want to do is get the webs going. And see if your stiffometer gave you a massive amount of rewards based on your stiffometer.
The Deadhead family album.
That would be nice.
Head.
Oh, nice manners.
Because like being able to potentially get 6 or 7 rewards makes a lot more sense than having to hit that multiple times. Particularly if it's not just going to be a progressive thing that carries over to the next game.
This is my favorite part of the movie.
Right.
Hit the crate. Quick! Hit the crate.
Why am I not making it through the crate though? I took a lot of times, a lot of attempts there. I do feel like 3 or 4 times you would have to do this mode 2 or 3 times to get all the way up to 10.
Don't stop now.
We have plenty of time to get to this point.
Now watch this. That was
And the whole game is just glitching. Interesting. Hmm. Let's see how the Monster Multiball plays legitimately now.
jackpot. Unreal jackpot. Extra ball.
I've got like multiple extra balls going on here. It's the same shots as before.
I don't want to know what's in there.
Alright, well. I'm still on ball 1 too. 22 million.
Shoot up!
Jackpot is licked.
Shoot the left ramp!
Shoot the left ramp.
Shoot the left ramp.
I'm just gonna play this legitimately. Mostly legitimately. Yeah, once you get to that out lane though, you are pretty much
Shoot the left ramp.
doomed.
Jackpot!
Ball 1 captured.
Alright, back to ball control to try and get the web.
What the?
Like so many other tables, this would have just been digital, and it would have worked so much better
Get to the grave!
because they would have eliminated this. All right, so now this should be
You've been practicing!
this should be worth
You've been practicing!
250,000 when I do it.
Puppies? Pitbull? Rottweilers?
Because I have the
Werewolf.
Error from the crate!
Quick! Hit the crate!
You've been practicing!
that 250,000.
Hurry!
Yeah, jackpot!
You can just keep on doing that.
Inside the crate.
Let's just let one drain out though, because that's not our focus. If you get the scared stiff to 10 times, I think everything else is fairly easy to accomplish. But these web rewards, this is pretty crazy.
Get to the laboratory.
There clearly needs to be a secondary way to get web rewards,
Bash those leapers.
particularly the eyes. Like the eyes are not something that I'm gonna be able to practice with. And this really highlights something that Pinball Arcade could have added, as just giving us a save state to practice getting the spider rewards in the spins to reward what we want it to reward. Where that kind of advantage doesn't exist in the real world, it would be nice to have that in the pro mode. I think the general idea is point 2 steps behind what you want, and you'll probably get it.
Hop to it.
Maybe. Didn't quite work that time.
I hate frogs.
And this could take another 20 minutes to get everything.
Here's a bunch of scary stiffs.
Fathead!
Oh, nice manners.
Yeah, the reward for collecting deadheads seems to just continuously go up and up and up if you pull it off. Honestly, it feels like the speed changes. Come on, wiggle your way up there. That web value seems to just go up and up. I have like 4 more of these that need to be pulled off, and each one of those requires 2 lined up shots. And see, this definitely feels to me like there is randomization there with no real control or influence by the programming. Yeah, it seems like your web award goes up by 50 every time you collect something. Right.
Oh yeah.
So that's everything except for 1 reward. And it is about 2 or 3 steps behind that you have to hit it. So pressure is on now not to bone it up and lose the ball. Let's see. Nope.
Head for the deadhead.
Saying head for the deadheads, I don't know specifically why I'm heading for the deadheads. Got distracted there. Nope. Not quite right. And each time you go around the circle trying to light the spider reward, it gives you another 600,000 points, which is kind of high pointage on this table. Now. This definitely feels like if I was playing this in the real world, though, I would be able to get that timing way better. And I feel like that's true, frankly, for all of pinball. Like, there's two scenarios that are possible. If I was to go and try and play a real world pinball table, I would just be terrible at it because I haven't played a real world pinball table in a very long time.
Double trouble.
Or I'm gonna go to a pinball table and do extremely well because it's gonna turn out that that I'm actually even better when able to play in reality. So double trouble just means all scores are doubled.
For Multiball.
Interesting, and so we have like 4 more seconds of all scores being doubled. 2 more seconds. Okay. I must have missed something on this because I thought I had already done all of this. So let's go over here and see what happens. Which one's not lit? Is it the gold one in the lower left-hand corner? I guess it must be. Alright, so we'll target that one. It looks lit to me, but it could just be because that's gold.
Welcome to Funky Town.
Yeah, we hadn't lit this one.
Shoot the left ramp. Hey, you with the face.
Web value is now at 700,000. Let's hit this.
Get down. Get funky. Look up.
What else is not lit? Let's assume it's the thing to the left of that.
Use the
Shoot the left ramp. Get down.
They want me to shoot the left ramp.
Kiss me.
rock and roll, baby.
Yeah, when we hit the slingshots, the boogies don't bounce up.
Thank you, boy.
Okay. So what's the next thing to hit if we're at 700,000?
Look up.
Okay, what else is possibly not lit?
Use the flipper.
Well, that wasn't it. Let's assume it's the direct center bottom one, the lightning rods, and aim for that.
Up.
Shoot the left ramp.
Yeah, 750,000.
Look up.
Seriously, what's not lit now?
Use the flipper.
Is it that cat?
Shoot the left ramp.
Because the cat's just nothing. I I can't imagine legitimately getting this. This seems insane. Unless there was multiple rewards for having multiple balls on the field. Yeah, that's already lit. So unless I had to also hit the eyeballs a fourth time. That seems ridiculous. Remember, this was supposed to start in multiball mode and give you all the rewards the second time. And you got everything all in
Be
one.
careful. Shoot the left ramp.
I may have to just give up here because I can't see anything that I haven't lit up. What would be brightly lit that I'd be wrong about? Do we get perhaps both of the telepathic balls? Is that what we have to do? Like, it's not even rewarding you. Once you've gotten something, so.
Shoot the left ramp. What the?
Return of the Deadhead!
Shoot the left ramp.
It does say shoot the left ramp. Maybe I should shoot the left ramp. See if we can do that without draining the bell.
Leave it alone. Faster.
And see, I guess we're not at Scared Stiff times 10 anymore.
Shoot the left ramp. Frogs everywhere.
Because we must have started that mode. Let's see. Get the ball up here. To light that.
Oh, the Deadhead Family Album.
G-Head!
Where's the cheese?
Just trying to shoot the left ramp and failing miserably at it. There you go.
Blade of the Baldy Beast!
Okay. Doing that seems to have done nothing for me. Where are you hiding? think it's just glitched, or I misunderstood the instructions, because to me it seems like there's nothing here that would start that over. So maybe you have to be in a multi-ball mode,
The thief in the coffin! Hey, that's me!
or something, I don't know.
Jackpot is lit.
Very nice!
Unreal jackpot.
Go for the jackpot! Hoorah!
Unreal jackpot.
I'm just playing at this point, trying to vent some frustration on not being able to accomplish the dumb spider thing.
This is my favorite part of the movie.
You see, this brings us back to Stiffometer, which I suppose we could do some ball control here and get at least a couple of shots. But with ball control, you're not really likely to get too many shots. You might be better off just playing.
In throwing! Excellent shot! Oh, pounding! Very nice!
Yeah, wiggling up there.
Oh, killing! Hurry!
Uh-oh.
Like, I kind of have no excuse to not get that shot.
Hey, Fluffy! Hoorah!
5 more seconds. With the heartbeat and all of that. This definitely has reminiscent vibes of Class of 1812.
Ding-a-ling!
Are you scared yet?
There we go.
Look up!
Heading for the deadhead.
Almost drained the ball. Although I might as well at this point, because
Look up!
the only thing I could think is that we're supposed to be hitting the eyeball. And maybe on hitting the eyeball again,
They're everywhere.
there might be a solution.
Good head!
My favorite.
I'm getting like 450,000 for the deadheads.
Oh, the Deadhead Family Album.
Airhead!
Whatever.
You see, does this table have a different multiplier, or is the scared stiffometer really just your multiplier?
Look up!
Bash those sleepers.
This is gonna be really dumb if somebody else is seeing this
Hop to it.
and I'm just not seeing the target. Either that or we've got a programming glitch here for an
Look up!
inaccessible wizard goal. which I am almost certain there is one wizard goal that is either not realistic that anyone got. A lot of the achievements are around there. I got an eyeball, so if that was what I needed to do, then that would have worked, and it didn't.
Night of the Leaper!
Yeah, a lot of the achievements only 1.2% of players on Steam have ever gotten, and there's 162 achievements still for me to potentially collect on this game, and I just don't think I'd ever play enough to care enough for it. The only thing that would make sense is to stop targeting and just let it fall where it may. Let's just see where it goes. We'll just look around.
Use the flipper!
And then just hope that there, through random chance, there aren't too many times one would have to do it. But I'm gonna set about 5 minutes here to try and get it to happen, and then I'm gonna give up because I've given it a decent try. There is that whole lower left X Elvira on the TV. But I think that's just Elvira on the TV, which they're, I think, just trying to be better at pointing out that Elvira is from TV and Elvira watches TV and movies, than the previous Elvira table, which kind of made her seem like she was just a made-up character for that pinball table if you didn't know Elvira, who Elvira was.
Use the flipper!
Yeah, the only other thing I could think would be that it maybe was you just needed to get to that scared stiff multiball mode. Oddly, it seems like you're more likely to hit the eyeballs not trying than you will trying. It is that left thing, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Alright, I see it. I know what to target now. It's the left telekinesis light bulb. It is white.
I see in your future.
There we go.
Oops, I better polish this thing.
Spiderweb completed. Spider-Man.
It's the crate.
Get the extra ball!
So that you can control it. So it has to be a stepper motor.
Jackpot is lit.
Or relays.
I see in your
And maybe
future.
relays that instead of a stepper motor, probably.
Left ramp.
But
Heading for the dead head.
it's working.
Double trouble.
Ooh!
Get to the laboratory. Everything is lit.
Spider-Mania!
Shoot the left ramp.
Yeah, you're never gonna pull this off legitimately, though. You're getting million-point scores.
Double jackpot.
Double jackpots.
Double jackpot.
Instead of super super jackpots. I like the phrase double jackpot better than super jackpots anyways. The only thing that's different here is I could have had the scare stiff up to 10 times.
Thank you, boy.
But it actually probably wouldn't hurt to raise the scared stiff up to 10 times anyways after the fact, because I think that's an end of the ball bonus anyways. But I think on this table in this game I've already done it all the way to the top scared stiff, so unless I need the scared stiff meter exactly at scared stiff and not over scared stiff. 3 times ball, 19 deadheads, beat the crate, stiffometer times 16. Oh, it just goes up and up. So 16 million. 16 million with a bonus hold of 6 million.
How about another ball? Now look what you've done.
And let's just play out these extra balls.
Cobras?
In the sense that, I mean, let's just let them drain out. And then you're back to just 250,000 jackpots, which is still a decent score. Like, there really isn't a problem with the scoring on this table. I feel like it's probably one of the best balanced scoring tables out there. 76 million when doing a great job makes a lot more sense than 9 billion when doing a great job.
The spell is cast. I hate frogs. What the? I don't believe you. Now.
I'd have to do so much practicing to actually legitimately have accomplished everything on that board. Although in all fairness, now that I know which ones light badly and which ones light well, and a lot of that is just Pinball Arcade and the DirectX 11 version of it, I bet the DirectX 9 version of this table looks slightly better, and so you can see what's lit better. Yeah, I kind of made a mistake deciding to play this with DirectX 11. And I imagine there's probably a decent number of games where I've done that, where I've said, let's try the newest technology, and then the programmers of the game don't really know how to implement that technology. Although there really shouldn't be that much difference between a DirectX 9 and a DirectX 11 implementation of a game here. It's probably just the higher resolutions and the frame rates and having the physics engine tied to the resolutions and frame rates that are the problem, which that wasn't advisable even when DirectX 9 was a big thing.
How about another ball?
Just have another shoot again. I don't know why I'm trying for extra balls, but whatever. Let it drain out so we can get to the second ball already. Seems like with every ball it does reset your opportunity to spin the wheel too, so you do have a slightly increased odds. I do feel like the laboratory is underused on this table, but it's better that it's there than it isn't. It lets you put some pop-up bumpers. We've seen on a couple tables that where they're missing pop-up bumpers completely, and it feels like it would be nice if they didn't do that and did have at least one pop-up bumper. Like, honestly, if you could only squeeze half of a pop-up bumper to the top left of a table, I think that still is better than having no pop-up bumpers at all. Just bouncing the ball around to try and stop the ball saver from saving the ball.
Use the left ramp.
There we go. 81 million when cheating. Not a particularly high score compared to a lot of other tables when cheating. The first player scared stiff.
Amazing.
And then they ask you to put in your same initials. And it's the letters again for Spider Champ.
You're the best ever.
And then put in your initials the third time for Grand Champ. So what you see there is the thwack sound just means you won some number of extra games. It doesn't immediately mean you only won one credit.
Oh, poo. Unpleasant dreams.
So then when we come back here and look at the high scores, well, it did keep that score. Then when we turn ball control off and look at the high score, it still kept it. Interesting. And yeah, the menu's not cooperating. So is this legitimately something I think you could do? Probably. Definitely could do that one. Definitely could do that one. This one sort of gets done, gets this one done also. And then that one seems to be just pretty much impossible. So like so many of these other pinball tables, you may get only 4 out of 5 of the wizard goals, which since they're not individual achievements, then that doesn't really help you. There's like 300 achievements already in Pinball Arcade. If they were individual achievements, then multiply that by, well, 5. So 1,500 achievements potentially would be quite a bit for one game. Not that achievements mean anything in Steam. Is there anything else to say? So we've been playing for 2 hours. I did want to show a little bit of the table exploration here. So yeah, here's your layout that I didn't even notice or see with the laboratory. It is better that it's there, frankly. And see how they just kind of squeezed it in under a ramp, and that's great. And then when you sink the ball here, it pops it up in such a way that it goes to this ramp over here that then curves to the in lane there, which is great. Instead of it shooting the ball straight down towards this left flipper or straight down the middle, which so many other tables have done. If you were to take the Elvira theme off of this, look how all the frogs have spun around too. I bet these frogs broke very easily as being just like plastic things that would be spun and hit. You can see this frog's arm is clipping through the physics of the graph of the table. If this wasn't themed Elvira though, I'm not sure it's particularly the best table ever. It doesn't have that many shots. It's got 5 important shots. One here with a sneak in that's super hard to pull off. It's pretty much almost impossible to pull off. You have your center lane shot, which counts in my book as just 1. Then you have a left ramp shot that's nice and wide, and a right ramp that's nice and wide. And then you have the sinkhole over here. There's maybe a curvature that would send the ball around and back to the sinkhole skill shot, but that's about it as far as that scoop. And the roundabout getting to the bumpers feels like there should be a second way in which that enters the bumpers, and the easiest thing I think you could do would be to cut off the edges of this ramp and have it so that since the ball is shot up this ramp, have it so that if you nudge it on the inside of the ramp, there's no wall, and you can just nudge it and then the ball would fall down there. Or maybe you just put a diverter and have a diverter drop the ball back that way towards another entrance or a sinkhole, or maybe even have a pop-up scoop that shoots the ball back to that ramp. Nah, I probably wouldn't do that. But yeah, you take the Elvira theme out of this table and it's pretty boring. Very nice, tight, left out lane to the point where I struggled to actually drain out of the left out lane. Very nice, tight, right out lane. Good shots. We don't have a ton of shots coming down the middle, draining. So good angles. Just a little boring. Maybe they played it a little bit too safe. So I wouldn't put Scared Stiff really at in the top 10. If we can look at this table, can we? Nope. We'll just have to let the attract mode show us. If you look at her previous table, as far as Elvira themed, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shots in a fan layout. You have 3 standing targets. You have a much bigger play field for the pop-up bumpers in the back. There's frankly a little bit more focus on colorful depictions. In this one, Elvira is showing more lag, but she makes, I think, less innuendos, and she is depicted several times on the table. You have more of a focus on the universal monsters and just monsters in general happening here. You have some crazier looking ramps moving the balls around. I feel like this table is a little bit more interesting. Maybe it plays a little bit more difficult. And I guess the real question would have come down to, is there... Let's see. I meant to start a game. And I'm not going to play a full game since it's been 2 hours, but... was there really a justification in changing as much as was changed? Or should this just have been a very small update to a dot matrix instead of a 9-segment display screens, LCD screens, and just an improvement in audio? I think like a 10, 20, 30 year anniversary of this table probably would have attracted a little bit more than doing a new table in totality with the spider gimmick, which I'm frustrated with at this point. This definitely feels like a easier to play table, more of an old school table. The real killer was probably going to be the shooting of up the center ramp. The standing targets on the left and right seem much more doable, although maybe those angles make the ball drain out more. There we have the barbecue bonus, and it just launches it back that way. What should have happened, in my opinion, and this would have only been doable had pinball really been succeeding in '96, is you would have come out with a re-release of this table with some slight tweaks to make it just more modern, and at the same time you would have sold a new table, which maybe you can't convince even rich people to buy 2 Elvira tables in the same month. But that would be what I would try to do, particularly as I would still probably, even in 1996, be targeting towards arcades where that would make a lot of sense to have Scared Stiff right next to Elvira. And collectors definitely are trying to get all three of the Elvira tables back side by side, just for comparison. So overall, all-time scores, you have 10 billion, then quickly jumping down to 3 billion in the top 20, which even that seems like a fairly high score on this. Where was my score overall? 78,156th position at 12 million, which, okay, that feels reasonable. Playing this weekly, Monday at 8 a.m. and it resets on Sunday at midnight, basically. I'm in 41st place with my basically one good game that I played legitimately. And then you have people that are getting scores up to 273 million, 117 million. Like, so they're definitely way better players than me on this table. And that's weekly. Monthly, I'm at 344th position, which with such a low score kind of highlights that it's slightly fewer people playing this table than normal. Playing this on the 19th day, we have a score of 533 million, a score of 317 million. I can't immediately assume all of these are cheaters, so there must be some higher scoring modes. And definitely we saw that when we were cheating, that you can multiply the ramps and get the score multiplier up higher and higher if you get the Scared Stiff 2 or 3 times in one game. Seemingly, though, here we don't have that third Elvira table. And it's unlikely we ever will on Pinball Arcade. It might exist in Pinball FX3, but it very possibly doesn't. And there's no third competitor, really. I mean, you could probably recreate the game in Visual Pinball, which is the pinball designing software, and just do it that way, which honestly, Visual Pinball being an open source software makes a lot more sense, although using the Unreal Engine and rebooting Pinball FX also makes a lot of sense. I don't think in the next generation of pinball table emulators we will see FarSight Studio really be a competitor. We have at this point 8 more tables for the 90s and then 9 tables for the 2000 era in general, and I have decided at this point that I'm not going to buy these tables, so when we play Star Trek, we're going to play that for a while, and if I get tired of it and can't make a full episode of it, then we're going to move over the Big Buck, then we're going to move over to this Racing Way, whatever that one says, Mustang, I think, and then we would move over the Whoa Nelly, because of the time trial modes there. We may not be able to make a full, even 30-minute episode, but we will definitely make full episodes on the tables that are purchased. And we still have Arabian Nights and plenty of other ones to play before we get to that point. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list. Thank you for watching. Have a good